Your heart beating for someone, but the times have changed. The less I say, the more my work gets done. 'Cause I live and breathe this Philadelphia freedom. From the day that I was born, I waved the flag. Philadelphia freedom took me knee-high to a man. Yeah, give me a piece of my daddy never had. For Philadelphia freedom, shine on me. I love it, shine a light through the eyes of the one left behind. Shine the light, shine the light, shine the light, won't you shine the light? Philadelphia freedom, I love, yes I do. If you choose to, you can live your life alone. Some people choose the city, some of them choose the good old family home. Others choose the good old family home. I like living easy without family ties. Till the whippoorwill of freedom sat me right between the eyes. 'Cause I live and breathe this Philadelphia freedom. From the day that I was born, I waved the flag. Philadelphia freedom took me knee-high to a man. Give me a piece of my daddy never had. Philadelphia freedom, shine on me. I love it, shine a light through the eyes of the one left behind. Shine the light, shine the light, shine the light, won't you shine the light? Philadelphia freedom, I love it. Yes, I do. Philadelphia freedom, shine on me. My love, shine a light through the eyes of the one left behind. Shine the light, shine the light, shine the light, won't you shine the light? Philadelphia freedom, I love, you know I love, you know I love you. Yes, I do. I'll be your friend. I love you. Yes, I do. I'll be your friend. Know that I love you. Yes, I do. I'll be your friend. Don't you know that I love you? Yes, I do.
Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks? You damn right.
Welcome live. We appreciate you, the Radical Republicans live show. Back again, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, Jerome Bell, the J Black Mamba on X. Chief Jerome Bell on YouTube and Jerome Bell on Rumble. Or you can also find me at the Radical Republicans live show on Rumble. And you can also check me out on pickaxe.com. Go over there and check out the show live as well, streaming live on the show on pickaxe.com. That's going to be the next wave. No AI is running Pickaxe. No censorship over on Pickaxe. No filtering on Pickaxe. Like they do. No shadow banning on pickaxe.com like they do on X. And still on Facebook. I'm still shadow banned on Facebook and X, believe it or not. But it is what it is. When you are telling the truth, when you are unscripted, when you are unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, and unapologetic, you get banned. Still on Elon's X, totally shadow banned on Facebook. My feed is slowed. I think, hey Jackie, I see Susan, see you over there. Miss Carolyn on YouTube, Jackie on Rumble, Susan also on YouTube as well. I see you. And I'll get to the Getter chat in a minute. And to anyone out there that's just watching the show, checking it out, you don't want to say hi and put your name out there or anything like that, that's cool too. That's cool. I know I have fans all over. I told the story last week about one of my fans from Colorado I didn't know about. So, and we also have some trolls up in the house. I know we have those. We met two of them last week. I want you guys to come back. You guys were pretty fun to play with a little bit. So let me hit my sponsor, Supermassive Black Coffee. Are you tired of the same old corporate coffee? Diluted and devoid of character. It's time to break free from the chains of mediocrity with Supermassive Black Coffee. Crafted from 100% organic beans, this coffee is fire roasted in a Victorian era roaster, a relic from an age when true craftsmanship thrived. This unique process allows the flames to caress each bean, unlocking bold, rich flavors with dark chocolate undertones and a smooth, smoky finish. In a time of soaring coffee prices and supply chain disruptions, Supermassive Black Coffee stands as a beacon of quality and resilience. while others compromise. This brand remains steadfast, delivering a brew that defies convention and invites coffee lovers to explore the depths of flavor and mystique. Join the rebellion against the mundane. Visit supermassiveblackcoffee.com and use code MAMBA, MAMBA, for 20% off your order. Embrace the conspiracy and sip the mystery. Sip the mystery. So we got an interesting show tonight, actually, I think. We're going to, I used to see on December 7th, right? I don't watch much, any really mainstream media or any mainstream TV. So I don't know, did they have a celebration for Pearl Harbor Day today, December 7th, the day that would live 1941, right? That the day that will live in infamy. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to kick off this show with that, I think, because Susan says, if there are any trolls out there, speak out. Yeah, definitely, you guys. Come on, man, speak out. Let's have some fun tonight. But there's a lot going on. Okay, there's a lot going on. But like I said, I want to welcome you to the show. Definitely. 322nd day of the Trump administration, and where we are still in believing in God and country here, and also the Constitution. This is probably the only show. I haven't seen a show where we refuse to apologize for being America only. America only. There are a lot of America first, supposedly America first shows out there. They preach America first. I preach America only. And you're gonna start seeing these shows pick up on my mantra, America only, because it's gonna just grow and grow. And you see my hat. I got one hat here. I got my other hat. Oh, check out my, you guys have to check out my store, right? Yeah, I'm gonna put that up here. You guys have to check out my store. I got my new America only hat line going up. It's there. Let me see if I can. I wasn't gonna pull it up, but I am. You guys have to go check out the store, and also all the other really, really nice items I have. My Are You Hip to the Con? Are You Hip to the Con Yet t-shirt collection. So I want you guys to go check it out. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Before I get to anything else, I'm sponsoring myself tonight. I am sponsoring myself tonight. So it's the Radical Republicans official merchandise, y'all. Go check it out. Hold on, let me pull this up. I gotta switch screens here to show you. All right. So my Radical Republicans, okay? You got no 90 days hassle-free returns, all right? So you got the America Only hat collection. I just started that. There it is, America hat. It's the snapback. You can get it in red. You can get it in blue. You can get it in orange. You can get it in maroon. So it's different colors you can get that in. There you go. So, and of course, you got the Black Line, the Radical Republicans t-shirt and sweatshirt collection, the Compassionately Conservative hoodies. Okay, you got the tank tops on the sweatshirts, the Radical Republicans gear. We got the Trump 2024 bust collection still out there. I'm gonna have to pull that down though. I think we're done with the 2024 bust because we made it. But this is a collector's item, so you might want to go ahead and check that out. So we got the mugs, we have the t-shirts. Are you hip to the con yet? You guys have to check out what's on this. Literally what's on the shirt, right? So we're gonna here. Let's see if we can pull this up. So you guys see that? All right. So you got Are You Hip to the Con, right? You got MLK, the Clinton kill list, 2.3 trillion, COVID-19, bioweapon, BLM. You got so much stuff on this shirt, that the LGBTQ agenda, everything that I've called out throughout the years that was a con, that has been a con, that has hurt the American people, basically, right? The IRS, the FBI. Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big one. The FBI coming up. All right, so you guys go to the store and check it out. All right, you guys might want to do that, and go buy something for Christmas. Go hang out and buy something for Christmas. All right, so it's pretty cool. All right, stopping the screen share. All right, so so let me check out the chat. Let me see. Ghetto was kind of slow loading up over there. Hey, Pure Blood, I see you. We got 87 people in there looking, but only one commenting. So a lot of people, I don't know if they're bots or what, but anyway. Hey, Pure Blood, waiting on TBB and all the others. They normally come over there. It's Sunday. I know people out shopping. It's Christmas. and everything. So, it is what it is. But before we get into anything else tonight, I really want to talk about today. I really want to talk about today because when we talk about everything that's going on in America, I think we have to go back prior to World War II, but we really have to go to what got us into World War II, right? Because everything after that changed, okay? Everything after World War II, well, really after World War One and actually after 1913, but it changed for America, okay? I mean, because we got 84 years ago, I believe, today, everyone knows, well, I won't say everyone, but you should know if you've gone to school. And of course, I'm going to show you tonight that what you all learned in school may not be necessarily true. We've been lied to our entire lives. Seems like whether it goes from NASA and going to the moon. I actually had someone. It's funny, right? I had someone text me yesterday, and I'm not going to mention any names, of course, so you're safe if you're listening to the show. But this person was really, really skeptical about. I mean, not skeptical about did we go to the moon. I mean, damn right adamant. Yeah, we did. We went to the moon. We go in orbit. And everything like that, right? But this is how it used to be when I first came out. What 3, 5, 10 years ago about this. But this person said that a lot more people around her, and or in her or his circle is starting to talk about this. They're starting to question the moon landing, and they're feeling kind of uncomfortable about it because that they believed everything that we've been told, and so they texted me last night and asked me about it. So I sent them some information, but you'll be surprised. A lot of people are starting to question: did we go to the moon or not? Right? And so back in this day, 1941, the Japanese Empire, they attacked Pearl Harbor. So you have to figure. And if you don't know geography well, just pull out a map, okay? Just go pull out a map and look how far Japan truly is from Hawaii, okay? Truly. I mean, we have supposedly satellites, early warning. We have, countries because Japan's fleet have to come a long way to get to Pearl Harbor. The carriers that these planes were launched have to come a long way to even get close to Hawaii to be able to launch an attack, okay? So we had 2,403 Americans killed, 1,178 wounded, 8 battleships damaged or destroyed. Okay, they have a memorial, the USS Arizona. If you haven't been to Hawaii and went and have seen that, it's really a sight because it's still at the bottom of Pearl Harbor, still sits there with 1,177 sailors entombed inside, and they have a memorial. You can actually see it. It's you walk across this bridge and it's glass, and you can look down and you can see the USS Arizona, and the sailors are still there. Franklin Roosevelt. And you guys know I'm not a big fan of Franklin Roosevelt because I've studied extensively the World War II era, Russia, the Bolsheviks from Russia, Germany, Hitler, um, Winston Churchill, okay, from Britain, and these people weren't so nice. They wanted war, okay, they wanted war. But President Roosevelt called this the day which will live in infamy, and he was right. He was right, but not. I don't believe not in the way most Americans think. Okay, not in the way that most Americans think. So I hope you guys are hearing me okay tonight. I hope we don't have any gremlins. We don't have any gremlins tonight like we had last week. I hope everything is going good and sounding good for you all. But tonight is special also for another reason. So and I say this tonight, I'll put this out there because I may forget at the end. Because you guys know how I ramble and I just forget stuff. So this is gonna be the final show of 2025. The final show of 2025. I know. Hold on. Okay, we got some booze. Okay, I know you guys hate it. I know you guys hate it. And I'm sure a lot of you probably like it too, right? Okay, so I'm taking a break. I'm taking a holiday break to spend time with my family. All my boys are going to be here at the house for the holidays, and I need to recharge. I need to prepare for what promises to be an explosive 2026, y'all. 2026 is going to be how we say lit. It's going to be lit. It's going to be off the chain. A lot of things are going to be happening. And we're going to talk about a lot of that stuff tonight. But a lot of stuff is going to be happening in 2026. I need to get mentally prepared for bringing you the truth, for bringing you the truth, unedited, unscripted, unfiltered, uncensored, and unapologetic in 2026, because I think we're going to face some tribulations. But we're going to start with the truth about Pearl Harbor, okay? We're going to bring it forward. Since today is the day which would live in infamy, okay, the truth about Pearl Harbor, a truth that I don't believe the government has been forthcoming. I believe they've hidden the truth from us for 84 years. For 84 years. And some of us, okay, some of us know the truth, okay? Some of us don't, just like some of us believe that we did not go to the moon, and some of us do believe we went to the moon. So some of us may believe that Pearl Harbor was an attack, a surprise attack on the United States. I think it wasn't. I'm going to talk about why I think it wasn't tonight. And Carolyn says when she was a little kid, she heard older people comment that them or family members heard the planes coming and they were not Japanese planes they heard. Very cool. Very cool. So we're going to go from Syria to the Supreme Court. We got a thing in Supreme Court going on that they said that they were going to listen to or take up President Trump's 14th Amendment, the birthright citizenship. Okay. We got the swamp still not getting drained. Still not getting drained. We're supposed to be draining the swamp since 2015, and the swamp is still strong as ever. So we got a lot to cover tonight. So this is going to be your year, I guess, a year in review, since this is the last show. And I promise you it's going to be a show that you'll remember. Share the show. Share the show out to as many people as possible, your friends, your family, your liberal friends, your conservative friends, your MAGA friends, the MAGA cult, the America First people out there, and the new America Only people out there, America Only patriots out there. All right, so we're going to talk about Pearl Harbor again. And, I'm going to probably tell you things that may make you angry. I mean, because we believe, a lot of us believe, everything that we've been taught in school, everything that we've been taught by our government. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you some things that's gonna make you question everything. Gonna make you. I mean, I do this regularly on the show. I do believe, right, that I'm gonna make you question everything that you've been taught. And this is one reason probably my show is not syndicated right now, is because I tell the truth too much. And like, nah, we can't have this guy out here telling the truth like this, man. He's gonna have people questioning everything. People already questioning the moon landing. But things that prove that the government has been lying to us for generations. So I want you guys to settle in. If you got to grab a snack, your favorite beverage, get you a drink, get you some coffee, some red wine, white wine, and because we're going to finish 2025 strong, man. Can you believe it? 2025 is almost over. Almost over. So, the fake media, they're going to still spin their favorite narratives, and the establishment going to clutch their pearls like, oh, but we're going to give you the truth. So we're going to get to work here. We're going to get to work. All right. So the official story versus the truth. Okay. We're going to give you that first, just in case you don't know. We have maybe some younger listeners. right? And we may have some older listeners or some people here that may not have heard this story before. I'm sure you have if you've gone to school. But on December 7th, 1941, the Japanese launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. We had no warning. We were shocked. We were unprepared, and this unprovoked attack forced America into World War II. And if you study World War II, you find out that there was a lot of things that came before war, before this, where we were already going to get into the war. Okay. That's the official story. And almost every word of that you've heard is a lie. Almost every word of it is a lie. And if we have some teachers, some history teachers in here, some civics teachers or whatever, government teachers that's listening, well, listen well. Listen well. You might want to change your major. You might want to change, or you may want to update your curriculum a little bit here, okay? Because the truth is that President Franklin Roosevelt and top military officials knew that an attack was coming. Okay, they had intercepted Japanese communications. They had broken Japanese codes. They had intelligence from multiple sources warning that Pearl Harbor was a target, and they did nothing to stop it. Almost like 9/11. I'm going to say it, almost like 9/11, because, and they didn't do anything to try to stop it because they wanted it to happen. Okay. They wanted it to happen. Why? Because FDR was desperate. He was desperate to get America into World War II with Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was begging FDR to come to Britain's defense against, to come in the war against Germany. Okay. Begging. A lot of people don't know that. Okay. But the American people were overwhelmingly opposed to another European war. I mean, we had already lost 100,000 soldiers in World War I, and America said, never again. We're never going to do that again. So Congress wouldn't authorize war. They wouldn't authorize war because it was against the people's wishes. Okay, and the public wouldn't support it. So just like 9/11, I'm going to keep referring, just like 9/11, just like George Bush needed something to change it, FDR needed something to change it. He needed Americans to be so angry. Isn't it funny how history of this country repeats itself and how we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over? And we're in the process of doing it again, right? But FDR needed Americans to be so angry and so outraged that they would beg to fight. Isn't it what the government does? Right? That they would beg to fight. And I mean, and Pearl Harbor, just like 9/11, going into Iraq and Afghanistan, Pearl Harbor gave them exactly that. Gave FDR exactly what he needed, what he wanted, what the government wanted, what the war machine wanted. Okay, this is what they did. Okay, so they tried to hide a lot of evidence. Okay, they tried to hide a lot. So I'm gonna lay out some of the facts that prove our government knew. I'm gonna lay them out, and if you want to disagree with me, let me know. I'll bring you up in the chat, man. We'll put you on the show. We will put you on the show. Okay. So I was checking the chat over here, and it's pretty funky over here right now. Okay, so I think I'm getting banned on Getter too. It's kind of crazy. Or they're getting kicked off. But anyway, all right, so magic intercepts. Okay, the United States had broken, I told you before, Japanese diplomatic code called Purple by 1940. By 1940, we were reading Japanese diplomatic communications in real time through a program called Magic. How many of you knew about that? How many of you knew about that? We knew Japan was preparing for war. We knew they were moving naval forces. We knew they were cutting off diplomatic relations, which historically has always preceded an attack. So we knew this, right? I didn't learn that in school. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't learn that in school. Did you learn that in school? Did anybody learn that in school about magic and about purple, the breaking the code? Did anybody? I did not. Either that or I was asleep on that day in class or something. And I never slept in class because I loved government. I loved history. Okay, so on December 6, 1941, one day, one entire day before Pearl Harbor, American intelligence intercepted a 14-part Japanese message. The first 13 parts were decoded by 9:30 p.m. Washington time. FDR read it and said to his top advisor, "This means war." The 14th part came in the next morning and broke off diplomatic relations with the United States. It was decoded by 7 a.m. Washington time, hours before the attack. Hours before, because what was it? Hawaii's about 6 hours behind East Coast time. So hours before the attack. So it instructed Japanese diplomats to deliver the message at 1 p.m. Washington time, which was 7:30 a.m. Hawaii time. 6.5 hours, 6 hours, somewhere around there, right? The exact time the attack began. So the Japanese wanted them to deliver it at the exact time. So Army Chief of Staff George Marshall got this information at 11:25 a.m. Washington time. He'd had 2.5 hours to warn Pearl Harbor. What did he do? He sent a telegram through Commercial Western Union, not a military priority message. Everything in priority comes through military priority message. It still does to this day. But he sent a telegram through Commercial Western Union about an attack, right? Not a phone call. He could have called. We had phones then. I mean, they, was calling the moon in 1969. So shit. I mean, but we had phones back then in 1941. But he sent a telegram that did not arrive until after the attack. So the McCullum memo, they had something called the McCullum memo in October 1940. 1940, October 1940, a whole 14 months, 15 months almost, before Pearl Harbor, Lieutenant Commander Arthur H. McCullum wrote a memo outlining 8 specific actions the United States should take to provoke Japan into attacking us. So they wanted, this is what Arthur McCullum, Lieutenant Commander of the Navy, said that we should do to provoke Japan. I mean, the memo literally stated the actions I'm going to tell you to make it possible for Japan to avoid war, And what you guys may not know is that Adolf Hitler was trying to avoid war with Britain. I mean, numerous times he sent messages, he sent letters, he sent memos, numerous times to Churchill and FDR and the powers that be in Russia that he wanted to avoid war. You don't get a lot of this in school. You don't learn that Adolf Hitler actually tried to avoid war until you start digging, until you start reading other declassified documents and declassified information. Okay, so what were these provocations? Based the Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, moved it from San Diego. Move it from San Diego because the Pacific Fleet, I used to be stationed at NAS Coronado, or NAS North Island is what it was called when I was in the Navy. So our Pacific Fleet was 32nd Street. It was there at San Diego. So insist the Dutch deny oil to Japan. It's always something about natural resources, right? And since the Dutch deny oil to Japan, isn't that what we're sort of doing now with Russia and the oil, and why we are about to go into Venezuela, because we don't want China and we don't want Russia receiving oil from Venezuela. This is what this is about. It's not about drugs coming from Venezuela. Don't let them gaslight you. Okay, the third provocation was to provide military aid to China. To China, our number one adversary today, right? We built China. Our number one adversary today. We helped. We tend to build up the people that we have to fight against at some point. Send American cruisers to Asian waters. Send submarines to the Pacific was number 5. Number 6, keep the main strength of the fleet in Hawaii. Keep it in. Refuse to negotiate with Japan about trade and embargo all trade with Japan. And you know what FDR did? FDR complied with every single one of them. Every single one. So this wasn't stumbling us into a war. This was engineering war. This was engineering war. This was putting us in the war, right? It wasn't by accident that we were in World War II, y'all. Okay? It wasn't by accident. Just like it wasn't by accident we were in Afghanistan for 20 years and Iraq and fighting all of Israel's wars right now for them in the Middle East. Okay, so the oil embargo in July 1941, FDR froze all Japan assets in America and cut off oil exports to Japan. Right, this is what FDR did in 1941 July. And Japan got like 80% of its oil from the United States. So we cut off the oil and froze all their assets. That's probably going to make the leader kind of pissed, right? Probably going to make him a little bit pissed. So the embargo meant Japan would run out of oil for its military in 12 to 18 months. So this was the thing, right? We were trying to cut off the oil, trying to kill their military. Okay, they would run out of oil for its military, and then go and attack them, and they would have no way to fight. Okay, so FDR knew that this would force Japan to either surrender its ambitions in Asia or go to war to seize oil fields in the Dutch East Indies. So, once again, what is it about? Natural resources. And just like Hitler in Germany, the Japanese tried to negotiate. They tried to negotiate. They sent diplomats. They proposed compromises. Sounds like everything that Hitler did. FDR refused every offer. Why? Because he wanted war. He wanted war because Churchill wanted war. You guys have to understand, FDR and Churchill was pretty much at the hip wanting war because we were what? Stumbling through. We weren't, we were a few, like a decade out of the Depression. But we still wasn't up. So, war always ramp up the economy, right? So the warnings were ignored. We had multiple warnings that Pearl Harbor was the target. Peruvian ambassador Japan Ricardo Rivera Schreiber warned that the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo on January 27th, 1941, that Japan was planning to attack Pearl Harbor. So he warned the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo. January 27th, 1941, 11 months before the war, that Japan was planning to attack Pearl Harbor. And the warning was sent to Washington and ignored. January. This is enough to make you pissed off because we lost a lot of lives over some bullshit. Totally over some bullshit. I don't know what's going on with the live chat over on Getter right now, but I lost some people
But but this is we we lost. Yeah, like Jackie said, war is population control. We lost a lot of Americans, a lot of people, a lot of mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters in this war, in World War II. Korean double agent Kim So-han warned the U.S. government repeatedly in 1941 that Pearl Harbor would be attacked. It was ignored. Dusko Popoff, a British double agent, brought intelligence from German sources that Japan was interested in Pearl Harbor's defenses. He was sent by British intelligence to warn the Americans. The FBI interviewed him and did nothing. The FBI has been total shit, like in all of its existence, right? I don't even think the FBI has a charter to exist. The U.S. ambassador to Japan, Joseph Grew, sent a cable in January 1941 warning that Japan was planning a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, and State Department officials dismissed it. Dismissed it. Radar detected the incoming Japanese planes 45 minutes before the attack. The operators reported the largest formation of planes I've ever seen approaching from the north. And what did the duty officer say? He said, "Don't worry about it." Don't worry about it. Yeah, okay. All right, don't worry about it. 45 minutes. Okay, don't worry about it. 45 minutes warning. We had 45 minutes to scramble fighters, to alert the fleet, to get people to battle stations, and we did nothing. We did nothing. And almost like, why they let it happen, right? So why did they let it happen? Almost like Israel let October 7th, 2023 happen. Yeah, hell yeah, they let it happen. Because they wanted to bomb Gaza and have a reason to ethnically cleanse Gaza. So we let it happen. So this is where it even gets darker. Something you may not have heard, because it was just incompetence. It was a deliberate decision, people. Admiral Husband Kimmel and General Walter Short were the commanders at Pearl Harbor. They were kept in the dark about the intercepted Japanese messages. They were not told anything. They did not know anything about it. They were not told that war was imminent. How can you not tell the admiral and the commanders, the two commanders at Pearl Harbor, that they are about to be attacked? They were sitting ducks on purpose by our United States president and our leadership and our government. So why not? Why did they not warn them? Because if they had been warned, they would have done their job. They would have put the fleet on high alert. They would have done their job. Fighters would have been in the air. The ships would have been dispersed out to sea, not sitting ducks, not on ship's row where they could target it for bombing and be sunk. Defense preparations would have been made, and the attack would have been blunted. We would have stopped, at least halted the attack on its way to Pearl Harbor, maybe kept the planes out to sea and not being able to bomb, and maybe sunk some of, shot down some of their planes, attacked their carriers, which was out there. But FDR needed a catastrophic attack. He needed Americans to be shocked, and we fall for it every time because we're hearts. We Americans, live by our heartstrings. Some of us, right? And they needed Americans to be shocked. He needed that. He needed Americans to be outraged. So a minor raid that we successfully defended against wouldn't do it, right? It couldn't be something small, something little, that, okay, we just knock out really, really quick. But he needed thousands of dead Americans like 9/11. Needed thousands of dead Americans. That make people upset when Americans get killed by an enemy, right? So he needed burning battleships. He needed infamy. This is what he needed. He needed infamy. And after the war, there were 9 separate investigations into Pearl Harbor. 9 separate. Every single one covered up the truth. Kimmel and Short were scapegoated. They were blamed. They were blamed for failing to prepare. And they didn't even know. They didn't even know about it, but they were the scapegoats. They were the fall guys. They were kept in the dark deliberately. So both men, they demanded court-martial to clear their names. And normally when you demand a court-martial, especially if you're an admiral or commander of the base, right? Both men demanded court-martials to clear their names. FDR refused. The president of the United States refused Admiral Kimmel and Commander Short's request for courts-martial to clear their names. So why did FDR refuse that? I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Because a court-martial would have revealed that they never received the intelligence warnings. But it wasn't until decades later that declassified documents proved what really happened. And some people still don't know. Okay, some people watching the show mouth may be open right now. Some people say, yeah, I heard this shit before. All right, let's get to something else, right? But by then the official story was set in stone, I mean, but here's why, like I said, this matters today. Okay? Because Pearl Harbor wasn't the only time our government lied to us to get us into war. And they're doing it again. History is repeating itself. Okay, let's talk about Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Right? If you haven't heard of the Gulf of Tonkin, it's where North Vietnamese boats allegedly attacked U.S. destroyers. It was fabricated. That never happened. Even Defense Secretary at that time, Robert McNamara, later admitted it probably never happened, but it got us into Vietnam, where 58,000 Americans died. Iraq, that's not so long ago. Remember weapons of mass destruction? How Saddam Hussein was an imminent threat, how we had General Colonel Powell, and I loved General Colonel Powell until this happened. I loved him. He went in front of the United Nations, and because of Israel, right? Some of their lies about what was going on, and he brought up the little vial saying that Saddam Hussein was making yellow cake. He's getting yellow cake, all lies, no MDE, no WMDs, no nuclear program. Iraq had zero connection to 9/11. But we invaded anyway. You guys saw that, and thousands of Americans died, and millions of Iraqis, and the stuff that we were using in our ammunitions over there, the depleted uranium. Some of those people are deformed. The babies are deformed. They were born deformed. And we screwed up some people over there. Syria. Okay, now supposedly, well, I mean, we had the Al Qaeda Syria new president that we just, and I say we, America and Israel, just put in place over in Syria. But remember when they said Assad used chemical weapons, right? And we needed to intervene. This is where, when President Trump first became president, 2017, this is when all this was happening. And President Trump, he bombed a airfield or something, right? He bombed some buildings that wasn't, just to send a message, right? He didn't want to get into war with Syria. But remember the red line, right? Years later, evidence suggests that those chemical attacks in Syria might have been false flag operations, again, by the rebels that was on our payroll, trying to draw us in. I mean, this pattern, it goes over and over and over. Like I say, 9/11, we had Vietnam, Iraq, Syria, Iran. Okay, we just had Iran. And now, we got Ukraine and Russia trying to get us involved over in Ukraine with Russia. And now we have Venezuela. So it's clear our government lies to us. Our government manipulates intelligence. They tell us what we want to hear, what they want us to hear. And it's plain and clear that our government manufactures threats when they want to go to war. Here we are again. Because, okay, so what does this mean for today? So when the establishment tells you that we must fight Russia over Ukraine, do you believe them? I don't. Hell no. I know the truth. China is an imminent threat, they say, and we need to go to war with China. China's going to be attacking Taiwan. Do you trust them? Do you trust our government? We need regime change in Venezuela, Iran, North Korea, right? The two big ones, Iran and Venezuela right now. And the whole Middle East is because of Israel. It's because of their information that they give us. Do you believe that? I sure as hell don't. I don't believe anything that comes out of Israel. I don't believe anything that comes out of Netanyahu's mouth. But this is why my America only approach, we need to be America only. I'm going to keep saying that. That's why I got the hat. Got the line on my website. Go check it out. But that's why my America only approach is so important. It's so important going forward into 2026. Not America first. Not America first, America only. Because when you have America only, America's going to automatically be first. When you have America first, it gets hijacked, right? And America may not always come first. America only, you have no choice. So that means no more wars for countries' benefits. No more wars based on lies. No more American soldiers dying for establishment schemes or for the corporations or for natural resources. America only means that we defend our interests, our borders, our people, and nothing else. Nothing else. We stop being the world's policeman. We stop being the world's ATM. We focus on America only. We have so many problems. We're $37 trillion in debt. Before January comes around, we'll probably be 38, 39 trillion in debt before 2026 gets here. We need to focus on America only. Period. Leave NATO. Leave the UN. Leave the WTO. Tell Israel you're on your own. Tell Ukraine you're on your own. Tell these other countries, these 190, 165 countries that we have bases in or something, right? All over the world. You're on your own. Defend yourself. You're on your own. Now, if you want to pay us to help you, if you want to pay us to be your security force, then okay, pay us. We want $200,000 per soldier, per sailor, per person that's protecting you. That's what we want. And that's how it should be. And if they want the security, then they'll pay us. If they don't, then you're on your own. But we honor all the men that died in these wars. Pearl Harbor, they were heroes. They served with courage. They died defending their country, and they got screwed over. I wanted to say the F-bomb. I wanted to drop the F-bomb right there, but I'm trying not to. But they got screwed over. But we have to be angry at the government that betrayed them. Once you know the truth, once you understand the truth, you can't help but be angry. How does our government let our people die and they knew? How do they do that? Because how do they use our soldiers as pawns? And they just let them die to achieve some political objective. Is that what we vote for? Is that what we do? And because I know for a fact that those 2,400 plus Americans deserve better than the lies that we've been told. I know they deserve the truth. Their families deserve the truth, but they know, just like the USS Liberty. I had, the gentleman on from the USS Liberty telling the truth, and they're still covering up the attack by Israel on the USS Liberty. But all of them were supposed to die. Benghazi to go into Libya, all of them were supposed to die. Libyans saved them. Still nothing happened to Hillary Clinton. Oh, you be in jail, Donald Trump, right? Come on, man. But we deserve a government. We deserve leaders. We deserve people in government that will never do that again to the American people. We deserve it. We thought Donald Trump is that guy, right? We voted for him. I voted for him 3 times. I rallied for him, met him, been in Mar-a-Lago, ran on a MAGA platform other than my other platforms, and the immigration moratorium and ending all cheap labor visa programs. But I want you guys to never forget Pearl Harbor. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a moment of silence here for Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. And we're going to never forget what the government did. We're going to never blindly trust the government ever again when they start beating these war drums like they're doing now. All right? So we're going to have a moment of silence, then we're going to get on to the rest of the show. Okay. So we're going to move on from there. So I'm checking the chat, and Susan asks if there was a number one cause on Pearl Harbor attack that was not alerted to the military. What was it? I think I covered that. You may have asked that while I was covering it. But I think the main thing for me was, January 1941, they were talking about it in January. Everything was ignored. So anything that happened in January, when we started decoding their conversations, and we knew. So I think that was that, but not to alert the admiral and the commander of that base. That is just low down and dirty. Just low down and dirty, I think. I believe. Just low down and dirty, man. And so, so it just is what it is at that point. But I wanted to remember them today. All right, so here we go. Let's go. Let's talk about the state of America for a minute. Once again, I'm going to keep saying this: the America only is the only path forward. America only is the only path forward. Now we got, what's Trump's national security strategy right now? Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. I think that this week President Trump released his national security strategy, and I believe it's a major step in the right direction. I do. While the fake news and the globalists are, of course, losing their minds, the document does something important. If you guys haven't heard about it, right? Like I said, I don't listen to mainstream media, so, I don't even know if you guys have heard anything about this. It's possible. But it puts America's interests ahead of globalist dreams, not Europe, not China, not the United Nations, but America. Now, I know President Trump is about America first. I'm about America only. So if we're talking about America only, fine. If we're talking about, America first, yeah, that's good. But I'm here to tell you, we need to go much further. We need to go much further. We need America only. And what's the difference? Okay, a lot of people say, well, what's the difference, Bell? What's the difference? Okay, I'm gonna explain to you the difference here. Okay, I'm checking Getter, man. Getter is rad today. I see Glamorous Moon 491. What's happening? How you doing? Welcome on the Getter chat. I don't know where everyone is on the Getter chat. All my regulars, man. I don't know. They're probably off Christmas shopping or something. Christmas shop, but welcome. I appreciate you coming in. Okay, so America first still means we're involved everywhere. We're still making deals. We're still playing the global game. We just prioritizing ourselves. So you see how that might get misconstrued, because, okay, we're talking about, okay, America first, but we're giving weapons to Israel to go and cleanse Gaza. Okay, we're talking America first, but we're giving weapons to Ukraine to fight Russia. Okay. America only means we disengage. We disengage from all of it. And people say, oh, that's isolationism. No, it's not, because we'll still have friends, but they're going to pay for our friendship instead of us paying for theirs, instead of us paying for their loyalty. They're going to pay us to defend them. They're going to pay us for their security. They're going to pay us tariffs for being able to trade in our country. So we defend our borders, our hemisphere, our interest, and we let the rest of the world figure out their own problems. How about that for a change? How about if we just let the rest of the world figure out their own damn problems and we figure out ours here in America? What up? You guys think that's a good concept, bad concept? You know, I mean, we should not be the world's policeman or the world's negotiator. I know Trump is high. Well, I stopped 9 wars and I'm negotiating, blah, blah, blah. We shouldn't be the world's negotiator. I'm sorry, we should not. We're America, focused on America only. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. The strategy, his strategy says something that's been obvious to real Americans for years. Okay, but the elites, I know they know it too, but they refuse to admit it though, right? Europe is facing civilizational erasure. Okay? Europe is being erased, and that's not hyperbole. That's a fact. That is fact. If you're paying attention, that's a fact because they have mass immigration without assimilation. This is what they want for this country. This is what they want to do to this country. This is why we have to stop it. This is why we have to stop the refugee programs. We have to stop all the legal immigration in this country, everything, because it's happening here too. So they want the mass immigration without assimilation, right? The birth rates over in Europe are in free fall. Economies suffocated by regulation, and the governments are more concerned with pronouns than prosperity. And they're trying to, bring in digital currency, digital IDs over there, right? So the Trump administration seems like he's not sugarcoating it. Our European allies are weak. They're very weak, and they're unrealistic expectations about the Ukraine war. They need a reality check. There's no way in hell Ukraine can ever beat Russia. So let's just get a grip on that, right? They're not going to win. They've lost the war. Cut the losses, give them the land, live, rebuild your population that's been decimated by the war. Most of the men I hear is like 33-1 women to men over there now in Ukraine. If anybody want a wife, go to Ukraine. You can go to Ukraine and get your wife. I think they're doing my mail order or something too, but okay, they need a reality check. Okay, so but here's what really I think has the establishment panicking about this plan with Trump. Okay, Trump is reviving the Monroe Doctrine. If you don't understand what the Monroe Doctrine is, go look it up. Okay, go look it up. So he's reviving, I believe, the Monroe Doctrine for the 21st century. He's calling it the Trump corollary, right? And it's simple, right? So Trump, he has to put his name on everything, right? He has to. He's probably marketing. He's going to market this. He's um, copywriting it, trademarking it, everything, right? So he's putting his name on everything. Trump's not dumb, right? He's putting it on everything, and it's simple. Okay, the Western Hemisphere is our sphere of influence, not China's, us, not Russia's, ours. Okay, this is Trump. Okay, ours. So we're done with. He said drug trafficking from Venezuela. There's not many. There's not many drugs coming out of Venezuela. Most of the drugs are coming out of Mexico via China. Right, the meth is coming through Mexico. The fentanyl is coming through Mexico. But he was sitting next to the Mexican president at the soccer game the other day, which sort of pissed me off. I think I have a clip of that, so it sort of pissed me off. But anyway, I digressed. He says we're done with cartels operating with impunity, but yet he pardoned a drug dealer, Honduras drug dealer. I'm just saying. I mean, he's saying this to me. He's talking out both sides of his neck a little bit, because you can't pardon a drug dealer, one of the most notorious drug dealers who was getting 25, I think, years to life for conspiracy to traffic in 400 tons of cocaine into the United States, but we pardoned him. I think it has something to do with the Honduras election, the president down there, and so it has, you know. He said, but we're done apologizing for American strength in our own backyard. But like I say, the document sort of makes it clear we're not the world's policemen anymore, but we're still giving weapons to Ukraine and to Israel. I don't understand that. He said, but we are the sheriff in our own neighborhood. I mean, I like that. It's about time. We need to be our own sheriff. We need to fix this country because we got Somalis defrauding billions of dollars, from food programs, SNAP programs in Little Mogadishu in Minnesota. People need to go to jail. People need to be deported as soon as possible. If you're guilty, you're a refugee, you get deported. Ilhan Omar needs to be denaturalized, and her ass sent home. But she can't go back to Somalia because she'll be killed. She might have to go to Kenya, something. But she's worth like $40 million, so she truly can go anywhere she can go. But she needs to be deported from the United States. Actually, she needs to be taken back to. She came here from Kenya. If you guys don't know the family, if you didn't watch my episode, I guess, about Ilhan Omar, who she really is, okay, why she's here. She needs to be, and they did come from Kenya. They were running from Somalia, but she needs to be taken back to at least Kenya. She needs to be deported back to at least Kenya because she's guilty. She's a criminal, allegedly married her brother, committed immigration fraud, allegedly, but she hates America. She hates America, so she should go. Okay, so the Middle East. Okay, we're pivoting away, supposedly. I don't think we are. I don't think we're pivoting from the Middle East because we keep supplying Israel. Until we stop supplying Israel $3 billion a year in weapons to attack any country they want in the Middle East. They're attacking Lebanon. They've been attacking Lebanon all week. They're attacking Syria. They've already decimated Gaza. So they're attacking any country they want with impunity because these countries do not have a military and they know that they have the backing of the United States, which I think needs to be stopped. I think it needs to be stopped. We don't need Middle Eastern oil like we used to. We have our own oil. We just need to drill. We don't need it. So we can't be controlled, okay? I think we need to stop letting, and I think 2026, a lot more people are going to be, this is what Charlie Kirk was talking before he was assassinated. A lot of supposed congressmen are talking about it. A lot more Americans, especially Gen Z Americans, are talking about it. About we need to break away from Israel. We need to stop being Israel's bitch. We need to be done with the endless wars in places that don't want our help. We'll make peace deals or whatever if we need to with people. Like I guess Rwanda and Congo, if they need our help, we'll go help. We get something for it, okay? But as far as the nation building and the regime change, we have to be done with that. We have to be done with that. As far as China, we need to total rebalance that relationship. I think we probably need to decouple, but I think Trump is saying we need to rebalance. We need to totally decouple from China. If they are that big of a threat to us, we need to decouple. We need to force them into dissolvency. Right? They need to be insolvent. We need to dissolve China. Make them dissolve themselves. Make them go bankrupt. Because I know we're going to compete economically. This is Trump. We're going to defend Taiwan. And he says he's going to make American interests come first in every negotiation. Okay, that's the tariffs and everything. Okay. So the strategy is what's putting American interests first looks like when you stop apologizing for American power and using it intelligently. This is Trump. I'm America only. But the world is watching. Okay, so they can see that under Trump, at least he seems to be, America doesn't ask permission anymore. We should never ask permission, of course, but we can still go further. Trump can go further. He needs to go further. America only means we don't just prioritize again America's interests in every negotiation. We stop having so many negotiations. Let them negotiate on their own. This is what America only means. This is my stance, okay? This would be my platform if I ran for president, right? Stop having so many negotiations. We secure our hemisphere, our place. We defend our borders. We protect our citizens. We let Europe, Asia, Africa, the Middle East handle their own freaking problems. No more endless meetings. I'm not in that. I'm not in the meetings. I want the UN out of the country anyway. NATO, you're done. We're out of NATO. UN, we're done. Get out of New York. Turn that into low income housing. Let Mandami or whatever the hell it is use it for housing. Okay. And no more international cooperation. No, we're done with Article 5 in NATO because that always costs us more than anyone else. The international cooperation, whether it's money, whether it's lives, whether it's equipment, whatever it is, right? It always costs us more than everyone else. We have to be America only. We have to be America only. This is the only way that we can get it done. Louis Harper, welcome. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you coming to the show. Pure Blood is back. Throw her ass in prison. You know, I got clips of Ilhan Omar. You know, really, she needs to go. But her in to leave. Jamie Cologne, 888. What's up, bro? I see you. But you know, we need to be America only. Should I play those clips of Omar? Should I play this one clip? I mean, because talking about and they always want to play victim, right? They always want to play victim. Let me see if I have time. Let me see. Some stuff I want to touch on. But you know me, if I don't get to it, shit, I get to it another day. But let me continue first. And okay. Then I'll play some Omar. Yeah, I'll continue first. I'm looking at some stuff I want to cover. I'm unscripted, but I do write stuff down. Okay, stuff that I want to cover sometimes. You know that I need to talk about. All right, so one of the best things I think that Trump did, he secured the border. He secured the border. Pretty much, the numbers don't lie. Okay, 2025, I guess we had the 7th consecutive month of zero releases at the border. So zero under Biden, man. You guys know what was happening. They were coming in hundreds of thousands of freaking every month. And so it slowed down a little bit, really a lot under Trump. Border Patrol encounters are averaging under 10,000 per month nationwide. I guess that's southern and northern border. And to put that in perspective, I guess in 2023, Biden, they were apprehending 336 illegals every hour. Every hour. Think about that. Every hour. So that's like a 95% reduction with Trump. I don't like this lady, Kristi Noem. Something's funny about her, and same with Bondi and all of them. But supposedly we have the best, most secure border in history. I believe that's true at the time. But so this is where I'm going to pop in the Omar thing, right? Because enforcement isn't just happening at the border. They're starting to crack down. They needed this. They needed to do this a long time ago. Okay, so Operation Catahoula Crunch is what they call it. Catahoula Crunch. These names that they come up with in New Orleans, operations in Minneapolis targeting criminal aliens. The enforcement operations in Charlotte. So we're cracking down in places other than just the border. Okay, we're hunting them down and we're getting them out of here. Okay, we're arresting them. Hopefully, the things that happen in Somalia. Was it like $8 billion? It's coming up around $8 billion of fraud from people that should not even be in the country. Should not even be in the country. Trump, I guess since then, and since the attack on the National Guard, he's expanded the travel ban. Okay, it started with 19 countries. Now it's being increased to over 30 countries that cannot vet their citizens. I'm forget the ban on the countries. Shut down all immigration to the United States for 10 years until we figure out who's in this country legally, who's in the country illegally, who needs to be gone and us get them the hell out of here. We stop all immigration to this country for a minimum of 10 years. That's my take. That's what I ran on in 2020 and ran on again in 2022, and I'll run on it again if I ran again in 2026 or 2028, whenever. I continue to run on that. Okay, and you can't come here without extreme vetting. And I mean, if you can't find your birth certificate, you can't come. If you don't have a birth certificate, you coming from third world countries, you can't come here. I don't know how old you are. I don't know your real name. I don't know when you were born. You cannot come here. That's just common sense. That's not being a racist or a bigot or xenophobe, whatever you want to call it. That's just common sense, man. You can't let people into your country that you know nothing about. I mean, and the people that's already here, every single visa, every single asylum claim, every single green card issued during the Biden administration, everything, the Afghanis that came over from that we brought over, everything gets reviewed, everything. And if it's fraud, you've been caught in fraud, you're not working, you're living on the government, you are can't be vetted, you're all going back. And these people like I played the video of Rashida Tlaib last week, right? And you guys remember the video. And if not, if you don't remember it, I'll play it again. Just let me know in the chat. But like she says, we're here and we're not going anywhere. No, bitch, you may be going with them. They're leaving the country. Okay, the left call, oh, it's cruel, it's bad. No, I call it sovereignty. Without borders, you don't have sovereignty. I call it security of the country. I call it America only. America only. Putting American citizens first for once, because we are America only. And that's the theme. That's the theme. Everybody needs to be talking about the theme, America only. That's it, period. That's it, period. And I touched on how let me see, I got time to play this. Let me see if this clip will play. Last week, man, I had gremlins going on and I couldn't get these clips to play. Right, so let me see if I could. I got the okay, let me see if I can. No. Hold on, let me see if I. Okay, no, okay. So I'm gonna share the screen because here it is. It's not a clip, so it's an interview that she was having on Meet the Press. Okay, let's Meet the Press. So I'm gonna share this. We're gonna do this.
And we're joined now by Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Margaret.
We have a lot to get to with you, but I want to pick up on where the Treasury Secretary just left off. He alleged that people who were tied to you or your campaign were involved in this broad, brazen scheme to rip off the Minnesota state welfare system. Do you want to respond to that? Do you know what he is referring to?
I really don't, and I don't think the secretary himself understands what he's referring to. We obviously had people who were able to donate to our campaign that were involved. We send that money back.
And I guess earlier before she came on, they had Scott Benson on the show, and this is what she's referring to. Okay, Scott Benson talked about the $8 billion that was lost to fraud, and that he was investigating the state of Minnesota. He's investigating all of the fraud in Minnesota. He's investigating Tim Walz, the governor, about how it got so out of control. So here she is claiming that she doesn't know nothing about it. She doesn't know whatever. She's lying, and this is a person that needs to be gone out of our Congress immediately and deported out of the country.
A couple years ago. And actually, I was one of the first members of Congress to send a letter to the Secretary of Eg asking them to look into what I thought was a reprehensible fraud that was occurring within the program.
And she's lying, right? You know what she just said was a total lie, right? Okay, just to make sure. Just make sure we're on the same page.
So this was, just for our audience, the Biden-era Justice Department called it the largest COVID fraud scheme in the country. And this was pocketing COVID-era welfare funds, more than $1 billion in taxpayer money that was stolen. It was pretty shocking. Of the 87 people charged, all but 8 are of Somali descent. And that has added to the spotlight being put specifically on your community. Why do you think this fraud was allowed to get so widespread?
Well, I want to say, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also as Minnesotans, as taxpayers, really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't answer the question, right? She played victim. They do this. So where they play victim, they play the racism card, right? Didn't answer the question at all. She's complicit. I believe she's very complicit because it was only in her district. It was only in her district that this major fraud occurred. And she goes, oh, well, we're taxpayers and we feel the same and we're upset about it too. No, you're not. No, you're not, because you're part of it.
So do you think, though, that there was a failure by the Democratic state government to police itself? This is a brazen, fraudulent activity here.
Yeah, and that is what I alluded to in my letter that I'd sent to the Secretary of Eg, was to see where things were going wrong. How can this amount of money disappear fraudulently without there being alarms being set off? And it is something that, we have to continue to investigate. We have to continue to ask those questions.
Because, as you know, one of the initial defenses by the organization at the heart of the fraud, Feeding Our Future, was to claim the probe was due to racism. Do you think that this was all about negligence, or that it was like political fear of alienating the Somali community?
So you have to remember that the woman who led the program is a Caucasian woman. And that was her way of making sure that this would continue to happen by using whatever rhetoric that was available to her. We do know that when the money was stopped, they did sue. The AG, Attorney General Keith Ellison, defended the department in that lawsuit. It was a judge that said it should continue, that money should continue to go out. And so this wasn't something that people were not looking at. There was always those alarms, and we will continue to understand where things might have gone wrong as these investigations continue and as these fraudsters are prosecuted and sent to jail.
Well, it's going to have impact for your community, because we've already heard that the head of Medicare and Medicaid say they're going to have a new policy that applies to Minnesota. You heard the Treasury Secretary say they're investigating. But there's another thread here, because House Republicans and the Treasury Secretary just now talked about a link to terrorism, a possible link. He said they're just now beginning to look into it. How confident are you that that's a false claim?
I'm pretty confident at the moment, because there are people who have been prosecuted and who have been sentenced. If there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our court system in not figuring that out and basically charging them with these charges. And so I do know that for many years, this sort of like alarm that there is money being transferred through the airport in bags and going to terrorism that accusation has always existed. There's never been here and there in those accusations. But if that is the case, if money from U.S. tax dollars is being sent to help with terrorism in Somalia, we want to know.
Yeah.
And we want those people prosecuted. And we want to make sure that that doesn't ever happen again.
So there are 80,000 people of Somali descent in your state, but the president has been very focused, not just on them, but on you. In this extraordinary cabinet meeting, he said Somalis, quote, come from hell. They complain and they do nothing but bitch. Take a listen.
These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
That knocking is vehement agreement from his cabinet members there. I just wonder what the reaction is in your district to have that from the highest office in the land.
It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting. These are Americans that he is calling garbage. And we feel like there is an unhealthy obsession that he has on the Somali community, and an unhealthy and creepy obsession that he has with me. I think it is also really important for us to remember that this kind of hateful rhetoric and this level of dehumanizing can lead to dangerous actions by people who listen to the president.
And 95% of the Somalis in your state are U.S. citizens.
Yes.
Just for clarity there. But the president has restricted all immigration processing, including asylum claims from Somalis already on U.S. soil, along with 18 other countries. ICE reports it has rounded up about 19 people, and they put out press releases with the images of about 5 of them that they say are the worst of the worst. Is that the entirety of the crackdown to date?
Yeah, so far we know of the people that they've picked up in Minnesota. About 5 of them are Somalis. And from what I have read and from the people that I've spoken to, all of them had already had orders of removal. So these are not people who are undocumented, but people who have committed crimes and who should have already been sent out of the country.
I want to ask you about something else that the architect of the president's immigration policy, Stephen Miller, said. On Thanksgiving Day, he posted, "No magic transformation occurs when failed states cross borders. At scale, migrants and their descendants recreate the conditions and terrors of their broken homelands." What do you make of this argument of failure to assimilate and sort of ruining America? How do you understand this?
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described.
They always want to go to the white supremacist argument and the Nazis and whatnot. Okay. And I'll tell you this: there's a lot of Black Americans that feel the same way. A lot of what they call FBA, foundational Black Americans that have lineage in this country. She says that these people are U.S. citizens. They're U.S. citizens by way of naturalization. Some of them are by way of birth. However, to me, if you came here on refugee status, right? You are still, as per the 14th Amendment, under the jurisdiction thereof, wherever the freaking country you came from. And that's what they're going to be arguing about, birthright citizenship. If your parents were refugees of another country and they had children while they've been refugees, that child is still a citizen of that country, not the United States, because that country, because the 14th Amendment does not apply to them. Because the 14th Amendment was only for newly freed slaves to have citizenship. So I'm hoping the Supreme Court gets this one right about this birthright citizenship, because a lot of these people are not citizens just because they were born here. They are here because their parents are here on refugee status. They are subject to the jurisdiction thereof that country, Somalia, or wherever they came from. And so are their children. And so are their children, because your parents are not citizens. You are not a citizen because you were born here, because you were not a slave when the 14th Amendment was adopted and ratified. So I hope the Supreme Court gets this right for once.
Jewish people in Germany. And, you know, as we know, there have been many immigrants who have tried to come to the United States who've turned back, one of them being Jewish immigrants. We know the way that people were described who were coming from Ireland, Irish immigrants. We know the way in which people were described back then when they were Italian immigrants. And to me, you know, we're yes, of course, ethnically Somali. We are in this country as Americans.
Yeah.
We are citizens. We are productive part of this nation, and we will continue to be.
Congresswoman Omar, thank you for your time today.
All right, so that's the BS. That's the BS from Omar on Face the Nation. To me, okay? To me, my opinion. To me, because she's disgusting. She says over and over again, she does not like this country. Okay, let's see.
I just think it was the video where it called him Dr. Frankenstein and said his monster shot him through the neck. I mean, obviously this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath of
what
someone's death.
I find jarring is that there are so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day. What I find jarring is that there are so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible.
That was on.
To be coming out of our country. I mean, I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets.
Okay, I'm not going to make this about Ilhan Omar tonight, because I've done that already. I've showed the show, and if not, I'll put it up again. If you want to see the show, I'll put it up maybe over Christmas while I'm gone. I'll put that back up. But her family was the dictators. She grew up under a dictatorship. Her family clan were the dictators. They were the slave owners. They were the ones that were run out of Somalia. Okay, and this is what Somalis do. Okay, let me show you this. I guess, these are the American citizens that she talked about. This is one of them.
Somalia, no government, no safety, no police, no nothing, just anarchy.
All right, so what that was a Somali peeing on Donald Trump's star. Whether you don't like Donald Trump or not, that shit's bad, yo. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Okay, and you're not a citizen to me. You're not a citizen just because you were born here. Supreme Court, get it right. Supreme Court, get it right, man. All right, so anyway. All right, so baseball. Well, man, I haven't seen you in a while. Baseball, what's happening? Can we stop listening to this line, bitch? My bad, bro. That's Jamie C over there. She's a piece of shit. So I can't stand. I know she's like disgusting, right? Hey, man, but I appreciate you coming back, baseball. I haven't seen you in a while, man. Yeah, she's so condescending. I mean, that was the good stuff. I had to delete a bunch of the other stuff so I can get these clips to run because I guess it was taking too much of my computer memory. And I don't have enough donations to buy another computer, y'all. But anyway, um, yeah, but she's disgusting. So anyway, I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna make this about Aaron no more. However, the Supreme Court. I am gonna talk about this Supreme Court thing, right? So every decision making is making clear the Constitution matters. Okay, we have to get it right. The Supreme Court has to get this shit right. All right. So this week, the court of allowed Texas to use this congressional redistricting map that gives Republicans an advantage. I mean, California does it, Illinois is doing it, and you got freaking what's his name, Al Green from Houston and Jasmine Crockett. Their seats are gone, so you ain't got to worry about them two vulgar individuals in Congress anymore because Al Green's gone, Jasmine Crockett's gone. Even though she's going to announce that she's going to run for Senate, she's going to get smashed. So they're gone. Okay, so the Supreme Court got that right. Okay, the lower court claimed that it was racial gerrymandering. This is what they do in California. It's what they do in Illinois. Okay, Indiana just won theirs too. I mean, the state of Indiana, they I think are having a 9-0, 10-0 map. Okay, but the Supreme Court said that the lower court made serious errors. Politics and race aren't the same thing. And Democrats have been conflating them for years to gain advantage in courts all the time. They do it all the single time, okay? But the big case coming up, I talked about, is this birthright citizenship. And y'all, let me tell you, if the Supreme Court gets this right, I mean, even Trump said it. It was a black right. It was meant for black people. It's not meant for these people over here as refugees. It was not people meant for come across the border and dump your load, anchor baby. It's not meant for that. And the Supreme Court got to get it right. Got to get it right, man. Okay, so they agreed to hear the challenges to Trump's executive order because that's why he did it, to make sure it went to the Supreme Court, because this is the only way we're going to settle this once and for all, okay? And this ends automatic citizenship for children born here to illegals. We talked about it. And this, I mean, I can't express how huge this is, right? How huge this is. And the Fourth Amendment says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction of our citizens. The left always leave out that second part, subject to the jurisdiction of. They always leave that out. If your parents are here illegally and on refugee status, I really want to express that, and they really need to express that in the Supreme Court in these arguments, and on refugee status, because your status is just supposed to be temporary, which means you are still a citizen of your country where you are here trying to get asylum from. You are here for that. You are still a legal citizen there. You're not, and when you're here illegally, you are not really under our jurisdiction. To be honest, if you break our laws, just like if we went to Saudi Arabia, right? We are not subject to jurisdiction there. However, if we broke Saudi Arabia's laws, if we were in the military, we could be prosecuted under Saudi Arabian law. They would tell us that on our debriefs and our briefs before we go into theater, before we go into country. Jamie can verify this because he's up in the chat. Okay. Jamie can verify this. We had these briefs. If you went in there and got stupid and you broke a Saudi law or wherever we are, right? Japan law, wherever, you were subject to their laws, right? But that don't mean if you're there that you are a citizen. You're still a non-citizen. You're just subject to their laws at being in country. So if your parents are here illegally, you're not under our jurisdiction. You're under your country's jurisdiction. And the Supreme Court has to get that right. I mean, you got to talk about every other developed nation has already figured that out. Why is it a battle for us? Why supposedly be, the most advanced nation, one of the most advanced nations in the world, the number one country nation? Why are we having a hard time figuring this out? Do you know how many developed nations have unrestricted birthright citizenship? 2. Just 2. Unrestricted birthright citizenship. I mean, even in England, okay, they're being overrun because they have weak leaders and pansies, right? With all the illegal immigration, mass immigration. But there are only 2 countries with unrestricted birthright citizenship. 2. The United States and Canada. The United States and Canada. That's it. In the whole world. That's it. None of the third world countries, none of these other countries have unrestricted birthright citizenship. You can't just have a baby and become a citizen of that country. There's only two, us and Canada. Wow. Wow. At least every other country, everyone else requires at least one parent to be a citizen or a legal resident. We're the only country in the world where you can vacation here pregnant, have your baby, and boom, that child is an American citizen with all the benefits. It's fucking insane. It's retarded. Yeah, and I won't use the word retarded. Retarded is not about anyone's disability. It's not talking about no one's disability, right? It's meaning that you're too stupid to fucking figure it out. You're too stupid to figure it out. It's insane. And it drives me crazy because the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were for black freed slaves. Period. The black rights. In old civics class, it used to be called the black rights. And you used to be taught this, right? You used to be taught I remember the test question. What were the three black rights of the United States Constitution? What were the three black rights, the amendments of the three black rights? What were those? That was a test question in a civics class. But they changed it from black rights to civil rights to open it up to everybody, which was, I don't know when they started that, but which was bullshit, which was a mistake that never should have taken place. So the Supreme Court is going to rule on this. I believe they will uphold the president's authority. I believe they're going to get it right. And when they do, the anchor baby industry is over. Birth tourism is over. The exploitation of American citizenship is over because this shit ain't free. Our citizenship needs to be earned, not just born, not just because you were born here on this land. That's not how it works. So, I don't know what your feelings are on that. You guys can throw it up in the chat. I see some of your feelings. And that I'm not, yeah, okay. Say baseball, say, I've always been listening. There you go. She needs to go home. We have big problems ahead. I believe so, man, because like I said, it's not going to be easy to get all these people out of here. But they have to go. Cut off all of their free stuff, right? They'll self-deport if they can't eat. They're not here legally. They can't go to school. They can't work. They can't have housing. Okay, you want to go? We'll help you leave. We'll give you $1,000 and send you on your way and buy you a ticket one way. That's how that should happen. That's how that should happen. They have birthing houses in America. Yeah, I know. Chinese is also. Chinese birthing houses are huge. Huge industry. Okay, so let me see what we're going to take. It's got about 15 minutes left, man. So I'm not going to touch on Syria 1 year after Assad. I'm not going to do that. The stock market, you guys see it. If you're following the stock market, like I say, you guys better get some gold and some silver. Silver is going through the roof and whatnot, okay? So we had record highs in the stock market. So you guys can follow that and talk about that. And we'll see if the tariffs are going to work. We'll see if it's going to work, right? And so if the Supreme Court is going to rule whether, another thing that they're going to rule over is whether Trump's tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act are legal. If the court says no, the government is going to have to refund $90 billion in tariff revenue, and that's going to require some massive borrowing, and that's going to spook the market. So you guys, like I said, gold and silver, get it. But I think they may rule in Trump's favor. Because I've studied tariffs and I looked at tariffs, and I mean that's the way the United States used to run things, by tariffs, not by income taxes. We need to abolish the IRS. We need to audit and end the Fed, and probably most of that $37 trillion we don't owe. Tell them to kick rocks on most of that. And we used to fund by tariffs, and this is how we need to fund the government, by tariffs, the federal government by tariffs, the local governments by whatever sales taxes or whatever taxes. And property taxes need to go away. No one should have to pay personal property taxes, especially on property that they already own. So it's a bunch of things that I would definitely do different. Okay, definitely do different. And we talk about the swamp. The swamp is still there. He hasn't drained the swamp. Okay, I mean, because you gotta look at the pardons. Okay, that the swamp as okay. He pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez. Okay, I told you about that. The Honduras convicted of drug trafficking. And I think, I think this is bogus. I mean, I say he was, cheated unfairly. He pardoned Henry Cuellar, the Texas Democrat, that were charged with taking bribes from foreign entities. Yeah, I mean, it was Cuellar. I mean, Cuellar is probably one of the better Democrats on the border because he actually supported stopping what Biden was doing on the border. He talked about closing the border and things like that. So, I think that's why Trump let him off. Pardoned him because he was actually for secure borders. But yeah, I mean, so the State Department, they gutted jobs and things like that. The Ukraine Russia thing, I don't know what's going to happen with that. Supposedly, Trump has made it clear need to end the war. Need to end the war. How do you end the war? Stop giving Ukraine money and weapons. This war could have been over 3 years ago. 2 years ago, whenever it started, right? It could have been over if we never sent them money and if we never gave them billions of dollars and we never gave them weapons. Okay, because they could not win a full military victory in Russia. Just rally. So stop sending them shit. Okay, stop sending them the weapons. Stop sending them the money, and the war will be over. It's simple. It's simple. Okay, and you can go and read about the proposal. Ukraine agrees to not join NATO. Russia keeps the Donbass and Crimea. They got a demilitarized zone. So the Western guarantee for Ukraine security going forward, screw that. Screw that. Ain't no guarantee for us to secure Ukraine. Just screw that. No, we're not. We're not agreeing to secure that. I don't like that. We're not agreeing. So that means if we have to agree to their security, so that means Americans. That means Americans that could die. That means Americans that could be caught up in a confrontation. No. America only means we defend America, our soldiers. We come home, we bring everybody home, we defend America. You guys deal with what you want to deal with. If you want to screw with us, then we're going to annihilate you. It's just simple. We're going to annihilate you. We're going to get you off the map, and we're just going to take care of you. We're not going to have to worry about you coming back against us anymore. Okay? So, but we'll see. We'll see. We got China. I'm not going to talk about China. All right, so we got about 2 minutes left. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through the chat and just chit-chat a little bit. Trump executive orders. So just going through. I had so much to go through, but I got caught up on the Ilhan Omar thing. But a lot of things happened in 2025. I mean, Trump did some good stuff. I think he's changed a little bit since in my opinion, since the assassination attempt. Okay, I really think so. He's changed his tune a little bit on some things, and I really think we need to let Israel. Israel has the only nuclear program in the Middle East. Okay, they have the only nukes in the Middle East. They've threatened to use them if they have to. So I think Israel can defend itself. We should not be defending Israel. We should not be supplying Israel any longer with money or weapons. They have the ultimate weapon. If they want to be Billy badasses and going around bombing people and attacking people in other countries, then they need to be able to face the repercussions with us not being their saving grace coming from Vegas. Because like I said, America only versus America first. We need to go further than what Trump is going, and completely like George Washington says, we need to disengage. George Washington said, do not get involved in global entanglement. So we need to disengage from global entanglements at this point. And from 2028 and beyond, this is what needs to happen. And we need to probably try to start this in 2026. We need America-only candidates, okay? Because this is what America needs after Trump's second term ends. And hey, I might even run in 2028. Shit, right? On an America-only platform. What do you guys think? That's probably insane. They'll probably kill me. But but yeah, but we need an America-only Congress. We need an America-only president. We need an America. I mean, because that's the only way it's going to happen, right? Because let's say we have an America-only president. I mean, he's just going to get, you know, lame duck by Congress. He's not going to get anything done, you know, as far as that goes. But we got a lot of things happening in 2026. You know, so if we don't have the House and the Senate and the House of Representatives and the Senate like we have now, where everything should be getting done, but we still have these people that's not beholden to just America only. They're beholden to other countries. So we can't get everything done. I mean, there's no reason why Trump should not have gotten all of his agenda done. Let the Democrats whine. Let them whine. We control the Senate, and if they don't want to play and they don't want to come over and give us 60 votes, then we break the filibuster. Fuck it, right? And we put all of just give him what he wants. Let's see what happens. And if it doesn't work, hey, it is what it is, right? But this is why we vote. This is what we voted for. We voted for Trump. We got the House and we got the Senate, and we still can't get everything done. Okay, we got midterm elections. Man, everything's on the line next November in 2026. Everything is on the line. And you know, the left is going to throw everything they have, taking back Congress. And we can't let that happen. And we just can't. And so we need to finish the job. You know, so America only candidates need to run in these midterms, and they need to win, and we need to support them. And they need to, and America only means you govern by the Constitution. By the Constitution. You know, the Supreme Court decision is going to come down probably 2026 on the birthright citizenship. You know, the foreign policy hope is going to probably be resolved in 2026. We'll see. The economy, hopefully the tariffs, they need to work. Manufacturing need to come home. Inflation needs to stay under control. And the Fed needs to stay out of politics, man. The Fed, matter of fact, we need to end the Fed. We need to end the Fed. That's one thing that I would do if I was president. Day one, I would call for ending the Fed, and my America-only Congress would start drawing up legislation to end the Fed too. And we need to keep winning at the border, the culture war. We need to win this culture war. Okay, we got to keep fighting against the transgender agenda. We got to keep fighting against all of these people that hate America. We have a lot of people in this country that hate America. And we need to allow them to leave the country or get them out of the country is what we need to do. So America only, that's the next revolution. That's the next evolution and revolution is America only. It's America only. So 2028, you know, I'm looking towards 2026 and 2028 because after what happens with Trump, is it JD Vance? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be America only? I think JD Vance is bought and paid for. You know, if you look at everyone that's coming to the administration, you look at all the big money, the big tech, everything that's coming, you know, here, they're going to control JD Vance. We need someone that's uncontrollable. We need someone that really can drain the swamp and going to put the American people first. American people first. I mean, I think, you know, right now people that say, you know, I'm not MAGA, I'm against Trump. No, I'm not MAGA anymore because MAGA has been hijacked. I'm America only. I believe that President Trump has done an incredible job. He's been the best, and I'll say he's been the best president in my lifetime. Border security, economic growth, peace deals. If you wanna put those in, draining the swamp. He has not delivered on draining the swamp. He has not delivered on draining the swamp. The swamp has not been drained. You know, even though America First has been a massive improvement, MAGA and Making America Great Again and America First has been a massive improvement over the globalist policies of Bush, Obama, and Biden, and Bush and Clinton. But you know, I'm here to tell you, we need to go further. We need to go further. And like I said, America first still means we're engaged everywhere. We're still in NATO. We need to get out. We're still in the United Nations. We need to get out. We're still negotiating with China. We need to stop. We're still involved in the Middle East. We need to get out. We're still sending our military to 150 countries around the world. We're still playing the global game. We're just demanding better deals, right? That's good, but it's not enough. It's not enough. America only means, and this is what I want you guys taking into 2026 with you. Okay? America only means this. It means we leave NATO, we let Europe defend themselves. We close most of our 800 plus military bases overseas. We defend America, not the world. We withdraw from the United Nations, kick them out of New York. We never go back into the WHO. We withdraw from the WHO and the WTO and every other globalist organization. We're done. We're done. And we end all foreign aid, not $1, not 1 cent, not piece of equipment. America only. America only. And we need to, I call it, I want to know this thing, Fortress America. We complete the border security. We go wall from coast to coast, zero illegal immigration. A moratorium on all immigration, legal and illegal, for 10 years while we assimilate who's here, while we get out who's here, while we figure out what we're going to do with the people that's here, getting them out of the country, giving them a chance maybe to assimilate, like maybe some, let's say the DACA kids who didn't have a choice. They were brought here when they were babies, maybe, right? I have a program and a solution for that as well. But we deport every legal alien, all 20 plus million, 30 plus million, 50 plus million, however they are, cut them off of their support. Cut them off. If they're on support, cut them off. If they have a job and they're here illegally, they cannot hold a job. No exceptions. No exceptions. We have American jobs for American citizens, period. No HB1 visas, no H-1B visas, no H-2, none of that. All the cheap foreign labor programs, done. Done. American jobs for American citizens is period. We bring all manufacturing back home, no dependence on China, no dependence on Mexico or anyone else, just us. Energy dependence, we have that. We're there already. We don't have to rely on foreign oil. Now we have energy independence. We have to make ourselves economically independent. We need complete economic independence. And we trade when it only benefits us. U.S. Otherwise, we make it ourselves. Everything we can make here. We did it before. We'll trade when it benefits us, the United States. When it benefits us, we'll trade with you. Otherwise, we'll make it ourselves, and you go and do whatever you need to do. Okay, we need some constitutional restoration. We need to abolish the Federal Reserve. We need to return the sound money. We need to get back on the gold standard. We need to abolish the IRS and replace it, in my opinion, with the flat consumption tax. No income tax. You get to keep what you earn, 100%. 100% of what you earn. We need to repeal the 16th and the 17th Amendments. And we need to go back to strict constitutional limits on federal power. We need to do that. Our my America only foreign policy would be, and we need to go to this, Trump, if you're listening, we need to defend our hemisphere under the Monroe Doctrine. I think he's going back to that. Nothing else, period. That's it. We don't start any wars. We don't join any wars. We don't intervene in any wars. If someone attacks the U.S. directly, we destroy them. We annihilate them. We put them off the map, period. Otherwise, it's not our problem. Otherwise, it's not our problem. So this is the next evolution. This is the next evolution of the America First movement. Trump started it, but we need to finish it. We need to finish it. Now, in 2028, if it's not me, someone needs to run on this and need to be running on this platform that I just gave out. Not America First Plus. This is not America First Plus. Not improved America First. America only, a complete break from globalism, returning to the founding fathers' vision of a republic focused on its own people. They said, if we can keep it, you know what Benjamin said? I'm going over a little bit because this is the last show for the evening now, and I really want to get this out there. Okay, but we need to be focused on our own people. I know some of the people out there may hear this. This is too extreme. We can't just abandon our allies. We need global engagement. Right? People gonna say that. We can't do that. You know, so my question is that how is that working out for us now? How is that working out for us now? We spent trillions of dollars defending other countries that don't even respect us. We've sent our sons, our daughters, our moms, our dads to die in wars that had nothing to do with American security. We've hollowed out our manufacturing base to enrich multinational corporations. We've let our borders collapse while we defended borders in North Korea. You know, in South Korea, we defend Korea's border with North Korea, right? Germany, Iraq. I mean, I think it's enough. It's enough. So Trump showed us that it's possible to stand up to the establishment, even though he hasn't gone far enough. We need to finish the job. America only is the only way forward. 2028, we're going to make that happen. 2026, we're going to start making it happen because everybody's going to start talking about this. 2026, we're going to talk about this platform, America only. And hopefully in 2028, we're going to have an America only president and Congress. So, but the fight is never over. And we have to fight. We have to fight. We won again in 2024 in a fight. Trump got back in. We voted for him. Hopefully he will come back to life and come back to our side and start doing the things that he ran on, because we still have no arrests from Pam Bondi, and I'm not going to get into that today, but we haven't seen any arrests. We haven't seen anyone held accountable for nothing. No Democrats have been held accountable. Fauci, nobody has been held accountable. All I've seen is criminals that's been convicted get pardoned. I've seen that. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of that. I've seen enough of criminals being pardoned and no criminals from the Democrat side, from the DOJ arresting people, putting people in prison, Epstein list. I've seen none of it. So I think we need to deliver that. Okay? We need to deliver that. And then, you know, that's where we are. So there it is, man. So I appreciate you guys. I know we went from Pearl Harbor because of today and continued on, but you know, I think we need to continue. And like I said, Frankie Lane 6 has been drained. They just can't show you yet. Okay, I'll wait, homie. Frankie Lane 6 says that they just can't show you yet. It's been drained. Okay, I'm waiting. I'm totally waiting. But thank you, man. Thank you for coming in. I think this is your first time in here. I appreciate it. Yeah, exactly. No more pimping out, Jackie, for sure. For sure. And well, thank you. And you know, I hope y'all have a safe and happy Christmas, safe and happy New Year, and you guys are prosperous. Have a prosperous New Year, because I won't be back until 2026. Probably that first Sunday in 2026, maybe. I need to look at it. But love y'all. Who's that? Manimo? Manimo, is that how you say that? Welcome to the show. But yeah, so like I say, 2026 to 2028, we definitely need the America only. We can change this place, and we need to do it. So let's make sure we get it done. And I'm gonna like this tonight, because we gotta. God bless the USA. God bless y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for hanging with me this year. Again, year 6, 2025. I appreciate all the new viewers. I appreciate all the loyal viewers that stuck with me over the past 6 years, man. You guys have been great, and I'm enjoying the show and this year, and found out, yeah, yeah, Jack, I'm gonna have fun my grandbaby's first Christmas. And thank you all for tuning in, hanging with me, and being loyal, and trusting me that how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it in the way we always do it: unedited, uncensored, unscripted, unapologetic, unfiltered. So, love you guys. You guys stay safe, and we're gonna do it like this, man. All right, y'all take care. Love y'all. Peace.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. Next to you, and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the